Welcome to the Traffic Hackers Podcast, the crossroads of lead generation expertise and business growth savvy. Here we explore the expansive landscape of demand generation, guided by your hosts, Brent Stone and Glenn Martin. So get your laptop out and your cell phone ready. It's time to enter the world of the Traffic Hackers.
Hey, welcome to the Traffic Hackers. I'm Brent Stone. I'm your host, and today is a special episode. It's sad because Glenn's not here, but it's going to be really exciting because I've got Jordan Mendoza here with me in the studio. Jordan is the guy for LinkedIn. He has the secret sauce, and he is going to tell you about it. I can't wait for you to hear his credentials. He is going to blow you away. Jordan, thank you so much for being here with us today. You're the man. I'm so appreciative that you're here.
Appreciate it, man. Yeah, no, I appreciate the opportunity. Anytime I can share information that hopefully adds value to an audience, that's really what I'm all about. So, my LinkedIn journey, probably like most people, began as the place that I wanted to look good, right? I wanted to look good for the job market. It was this really big job networking place that I would go to update my resume and congratulate people on their job anniversaries and later their birthdays. And I was probably like most of you guys, had a profile forever, didn't really do a whole lot with it. But in 2019, while I was in my corporate role, um, I noticed that LinkedIn had started to change. The platform started to shift. They introduced something called video to the platform, and I started noticing a lot of creators putting out videos, and I started asking myself, like, could I do that? Could I show up and, talk about a topic and maybe do what I did in my corporate world, which is training and development, maybe helping people get ahead in sales or giving out some marketing tips. And there was actually this creator named Brian Shulman. I'm not sure if you've seen him, Brent, across the
No.
platform, but he's kind of known as the godfather of LinkedIn. He was the very first beta tester for video. He's had all these different initiatives and things that he did, and two of his initiatives really caught my eye. One of the initiatives was called What's Good Wednesday. So every Wednesday, this guy would show up on camera and he'd just say, hey, like, what's good? Like, what's going on that's good in your world? And there was just something about that that really resonated with me. I was like, man, this is cool. Like, I like people that are positive. I've always been an optimistic person. And, if anyone researches my backstory, I have a lot of reasons not to be, but I just have that like lens that I look through that, things are going to be good. And so I really resonated with that initiative. He did another initiative, Brent, that was called Share Saturday, and basically, or no, Shout Out Saturday. So every Saturday, you would basically shout out somebody in your network that did something or that you just wanted to encourage or something like that. And so, I got up the courage and I was like, you know what? I'm going to reach out to this guy. Like, I don't know this guy from Adam. He doesn't know who the heck I am. I'm sitting here with 7,000 connections at this time. And but I felt like there's kind of calling to start showing up more and start putting out this knowledge that I've been acquiring, with years in sales, years in marketing, coaching people, teaching leadership programs. And I was, getting up the courage that maybe this could be something I could do. And so I reached out to him. He was so gracious. He actually jumped on remember I was in Boston. I was traveling up there for my corporate job. I used to go there about once a quarter to train our associates in apartment buildings in the Boston metro area. And I'm in
Did you
my,
write?
yep.
Did you write the co-authorship in the book Brand Sharks then, or was that later?
Oh, this is later. Yeah, this is
This is
way
okay.
earlier. This is
Way earlier.
Yeah,
Got it.
yeah, before Brand
That's what I was
Sharks.
thinking, but I
Yeah.
just wanted to throw that. Okay,
Yeah,
yeah.
this is
Okay.
back. This is like 2019. So, yeah,
Okay.
I get on a
That's right.
call. I FaceTime the guy. I'm sitting in my hotel room, in this corporate like week that I'm doing training, and he just says, "Hey, just tell me a little about you, man. Like, tell me your story. Tell me kind of your journey." And so I kind of go into my backstory, a little bit, and I kind of tell him what I've done, uh, what I've accomplished, and things like that. And he just looked me right in the eyes, and he's like, "You're gonna have a brand bigger than me one day." And there was just something. And I don't know if you guys, anyone, the listeners can resonate with this, but have you ever had somebody that's seen something in you that you didn't see in yourself? Right? Have you ever had somebody, right? And you're just like, man, why does this person believe in me? But he told me that, and That wasn't the only kind of information or kind of encouragement he gave me, but for some reason I believed the guy. I was like, man, I could have a brand bigger than him one day, and so I had a little bit of a pep in my step, a little bit of confidence, and it encouraged me to go post that first video. And I remember it took me 12 or 13 tries to film it. I was like, man, who's gonna watch this? Like, who's gonna want to do anything that I have to say? I had this imposter syndrome, as they call it. I was just afraid. I was flat out afraid to put myself out there. But I mustered up the courage and I posted that first video, and it got 5 views, and they were all me because I kept going back and rewatching this thing. But that's kind of how it started, right? I decided to step up to the plate, and I decided to show up, and then I decided to show up again, and I decided to keep showing up. And the second piece of encouragement or advice that Brian gave me, and I'll never forget this. He said, Jordan, just go out there and try to inspire one person a day. Because if you do the math on that, if you can inspire one person a day, the end of the year, that's 365 people. And if you can do that year over year over year, just think about how many people you can inspire. And you've taken the pressure off yourself. Does that make sense? Like, you're not worried about helping everyone. Just go out and try to inspire one. And so that's kind of how I got my start on creating content on LinkedIn.
Dude, that's awesome. Like that's such good advice too. If you can just focus on helping one person a day, I think that just makes it so bite-sized that people can just digest that and keep on moving through that work pattern. But man, since then, you've done a lot of stuff. So I mean, one of the things that I wanted to make sure that you told the listenership about how awesome your fruit is that you've had in this area of LinkedIn. I mean, you want to tell people about some of the success that's come out of just
Yeah.
taking your own advice on stuff?
Yeah, so since I posted that first video, and that was in April of 2019, by December of 2019, I went from 7,000 followers to 20,000. So literally in about 9 months, I had a whole stadium, like a whole NBA stadium full of people that were following me. And mind you, on a business platform, right? This is a place where we would just go and congratulate people and update our resumes, and it had turned into this social media powerhouse. And so
Man,
it really encouraged me. I was listening to a lot of Gary Vee stuff around that time, like November of 2019, and so I kind of mustered up the courage to start a podcast. And this wasn't my first attempt, by the way. And back in May, I tried a podcast. I recorded, I think, 2 episodes, and I'm the only one that ever heard them because I didn't even know how to like get them out into the universe. And so I was going at my second attempt, but now I had learned some things, right? I had picked up some clients. I had built an audience. I had put systems and processes in place. I had this framework that I didn't know was eventually going to be a course. I didn't know I was eventually going to be
yeah.
teaching people this stuff, but I was really building this and had this process that if I do this and I do this and I do that and I do that, and I was proving that model for myself, and it was showing up in the results that I was getting. So January 1st, 2020, the Blaze Your Own Trail podcast was born. And guess who my first guest was, Brent?
You
Brian
got me.
Brian Shulman, the guy that kind of started
Oh my
started it
gosh.
all, right? He's the guy
Yes.
that kind of
That makes
encouraged
so much
me, and
sense. Yeah.
and so I
Yeah.
had him. I had the honor of having him on
Man.
my podcast as my first guest. It was kind of a full circle moment. And after that, I've had folks on like David Meltzer. I've had on Mark Victor Hansen, who sold 500 million copies of Chicken Soup for the Soul. Heather Monahan. I've had on NFL players. I've had on authors, and it's just been such an amazing 4-year journey of the show. We're now fortunate to have listeners in 70 countries, and we've been ranked in the top 1 and 2% for entrepreneurship. And all that kind of happened when someone believed in me, right? Someone said, you can have a bigger brand than me. And for some reason, I believed him. And someone said, hey, just go and try to inspire one person. And when you can get that linear and get that micro and really have that be your focus, there's a lot bigger things that can happen. And again, you're not going to have that added pressure on yourself. And so you fast forward now, we're in 2024, and what has LinkedIn added to my business? What has it added to my brand? And now I've got an audience of over 60,000 people on the platform that follow me. I've built a newsletter subscription based in 1 year of
Wow.
almost 18,000 subscribers. And I'm consistently helping coaching companies all around the world. And I actually one of the companies that I'm actually part owner in now happened 2 years ago from a cold DM on LinkedIn from a post that they saw. So when people ask me, is LinkedIn a place that can add value to my business, can add value to my brand, my reputation, my authority? And the answer is 1,000% yes, because I've seen it happen time and time and time again. And it's just once you understand the framework, and that's what I'd love to share with your audience, is I want to give you 5 practical steps that you can take to get some of these similar results.
Awesome. Let's do it.
All right, let's go. So the first thing that you want to do is you want to get out a pen or a marker or a pencil and grab a notepad, guys, because if you don't write this stuff down, it's going to go in one ear and it's going to go out the other ear. So that's my first instruction. Make sure you've got something that you can write this stuff down, because action creates momentum. Momentum creates consistency. Consistency creates habits, and habits are what get to those results, guys. So, you ready to take action? You guys ready to jot this stuff down? Sound good, Brent? All right, let's go.
I'm ready.
Let's go.
I'm ready.
All right, so the first thing that you need to do, step one, is you need to optimize your profile, okay? And when I say optimize your profile, you need to look at your profile from a top to bottom approach. Let's go, banner to licenses, right? You really need to look at your profile in its entirety. And when I say optimization, it should be optimized for SEO. It should be optimized for visibility, for authority, for call to actions. You really want to get it super optimized and dialed in, okay? Because just like when you're building a house, if you don't have a firm foundation to stand on, that house is eventually going to fall over. So that's step one, guys. You need to optimize your profile, and I've got tons of resources available through the podcast, and just even looking at my profile as an example will give you context on how you can optimize yours. And I do have something special for your audience at the end, in case they want help,
Nice.
partnering with me to do this stuff. So step
Oh,
one
well,
is
they absolutely
optimization.
should.
Yep, that's it. Step one is
Yeah.
optimization,
Yeah.
guys. So hopefully you got that down. Step two is you have to put out consistent content. Okay. Once your foundations are dialed in, the next step is actually showing up like I did. And I know it's scary sometimes to put yourself out there, but not every piece of content, guys, has to be a video. It could be a text post, it could be a poll, right? It could be a graphic. And test it out. See what your audience actually likes. But guess how you don't find out what your audience likes? By doing nothing, right? So you got to take action. You got to come up with a consistent content strategy. Okay. What does that mean? You got to show up at least, once a day, right? Monday through Friday. Weekends, I always tell my clients, are a bonus. And you got to show up on a consistent basis so that you can actually look at the analytics, guys. Your analytics tell a story. They'll tell you when the last time it was you showed up. They'll tell you if your content's performing, and they'll tell you when it's not performing. So looking at your analytics, the only way those analytics are going to change is if you do something different. Just like going to the gym, right? If you go to the gym and you sit in the car for 30 minutes and then you turn the car on and you drive home, what results are you going to get? Zero, right? So you got to actually put one foot in front of the other, and you got to show up consistently so you can actually measure that information. All right, sound good?
Yeah.
Sound good so far?
Yeah. It's awesome.
Okay. The third step, guys, is you have to engage with your audience. Okay. What does that mean? Well, if you put out a piece of content, guys, and someone comments on it and you don't comment back, that's not engaging. Okay. There's a reason why the word social media's first word is social. You got to interact with people. Okay. You don't want to post and ghost and leave these open comments. I know I've been the guy that's done it myself. That's a lot of the things I'm telling you. I did all this stuff terrible in the beginning. And so I learned my lessons. I learned from my mistakes. And now I'm sharing that information with you guys so you guys don't have to go through all the stuff that I did. Okay. You don't have to do it the hard way. All right. So that is the third one is engage. Okay. That doesn't just mean engage with people that comment on your post. How about you budget some time and you go comment on other people's posts, because when you can contextually add your
Yeah.
2 cents, okay, other people can see that. That's the one thing that most people don't realize about LinkedIn is every comment, every like, people can see that in your activity feed. So if you're a jerk to somebody, people can see that. If you've got a lot of great stuff to say and you share your 2 cents on topics, people can see that. And you can actually build a following. Here's a little pro tip, write this down. You can literally build a following on LinkedIn by just commenting your 2 cents on 50 posts per day. Literally, because everyone can literally go to your activity and they can see your insights, they can see your knowledge, they can see your personality. Does that make sense? And that actually,
Yeah.
comments, guys, ready? Next pro tip, comments are content,
Mm.
right? Comments are actually content. So how good are your comments? Are you just saying great? Or are you saying, hey, I really like that. That was great, and actually putting your spin on it and giving your 2 cents, because again, that's going to show up in the feed and people are going to be able to see it and tell what your character's like, and that's going to
Man, that's so
encourage them,
good.
right? It's going to encourage them to do what? To go back to your profile. And what's your
Yeah.
profile looking like? It's dialed in, right? Because you optimized it. Does that make sense? Your profile is essentially the top of your funnel on the platform.
It's so good.
Okay.
It's so
All right,
good.
we're 3 in. We're 3 in, or yeah, that's the third one, guys. So you guys
We're
fired
three
up
in.
yet? You guys got some notes yet?
I'm fired up.
Hopefully, right? So
Yeah.
what's the
Yeah.
fourth one, guys? So that fourth one is pretty easy, guys, okay? And this is where we have to connect with people, right? We've got to grow our network, okay? And this is not a process that has no strategy behind it, right? We don't want to just hope and wish and hit the connection button a bunch of times. You've got to actually do your due diligence so that you're connecting with the right people. But connecting should be a strategy, meaning if I'm looking to connect with real estate agents, you better believe I need to send out requests that are personalized, that are dialed in, where I'm not doing it just trying to sell them something, where I'm actually out trying to build a relationship. Again, if that's my ideal client avatar, then I want to target that, then I'm gonna send them a connection request, and it's gonna be personalized. And I'll even give you a basic framework. Hello, Brent. I noticed that you're a real estate agent. I actually love helping real estate agents, and I noticed a couple of cool things that you're up to. I'd love to connect, right? Something like that. Very generic and basic, but it's personal and it's personalized, and I didn't just hit that connection button. So that's the thing. When you're sending out requests to people, personalize them, okay? Because the
Yeah.
chance of them actually accepting it are going to be significantly higher than if you just hit that connection button. And it's kind of audacious, actually. You're like, I'm just going to hit the connect button, and you got to go research me and see if you want to connect with me. Or, hey, let me actually add a little bit of context and meat to this, right? Because you're going to make your life a lot easier by them kind of seeing who you are and reading into your personality and probably going to your profile. But now it's a lot better of an approach, okay? And if you can do
Yeah.
that, right, you have a number, maybe you set a target, I want to connect with 50 new X type of people a day, then that's got to be part of your strategy, right? You got to put in the work for that, because not everyone's going to see it right away. Not everyone's on LinkedIn 24 hours a day. So it may take time for them to get it. Okay. But this is where a lot of people make, you ready for hear this, Brent? This is where a lot of people make mistakes. Okay. Is they just go and they just collect connections.
Hmm.
Okay. And so what I mean by that, well, now you're connecting with 50 people a week. Maybe let's say you got a 50% acceptance rate, you got 25 new people a week, but you stop there. Okay. Well, what happens then? Well, that's where the ball stops, right? And if they're your ideal client avatar, don't you think you might want to open up that communication channel, right? Again. And so here's where, you want to engage in their content. Okay. And then you want to follow up with them, and you want to maybe see how you guys can add value to each other, right? Maybe get on some type of virtual coffee and actually make a connection point. Because if you're just doing it and you're going to spam people with your offer, and do something very transactional, that's not sustainable. But what is
No.
sustainable is actually building relationships. I think John Maxwell said it
Yeah.
best. He said, you don't want to focus on transactions, you want to focus on transformation. And when you can help kind of transform people's mindsets, transform the way that they're thinking about things, maybe transform their process or their system, and truly add value to their world, you're going to have a lot more sustainable success. Okay. And so
Yeah,
that's really the
that's
next thing,
good.
is building that network. And then from there, it's taking that online, offline. That's really the final thing, right? It's getting them on that call and meeting with them, whether you do your service-based business and you do a discovery call, right? Maybe it's that, maybe it's a clarity, whatever the naming convention is, you want to actually get them on that. But the one tip that I'll give you is your process should be dialed in. Meaning, if you have a Calendly, if you're using Calendly and you still have the Calendly branding that I can see, your system and process is not dialed in because you're representing Calendly. So there's some back end foundational things on Calendly that you can do to turn that off. You may have to upgrade, that account. But again, how are you positioning yourself? And if you're marketing for Calendly, that tells me that you don't understand the way that positioning works, and you're not showcasing your brand and your image, that you just need a little bit of coaching on how to actually get that dialed in. But also, if you are sending out something like that, are you pre-qualifying the people that are coming in the door? Because the worst thing that you want to do, and hello, I know from personal experience, is I didn't have a pre-qualification process, and I had a lot of tire kickers, and I had a lot of wasted hours, and I had a lot of time I was spending with people that had no intentions of hiring me. And so when you can
Wow.
get super clear on that process and it's super dialed in, so that when people actually get to you, they have pre-qualified themselves from a commitment standpoint, from a monetary standpoint, like they've got something to invest, and also they've told you the challenges and problems that you have, which should be forced choice to the ones that you can solve. If that's not dialed in, then your conversions are going to be a lot lower than if it were actually dialed in. And so, in
Mm,
5 simple steps,
that's
guys:
so good.
optimization, content strategy, engagement strategy, growth strategy, and then you have to have a communication channel or an outreach strategy. If you guys can solve those 5 things and get those dialed in on LinkedIn in 2024, you're going to have no shortage of organic leads. Because here's the thing, you're actually building a personal brand in the process. And building a brand, it takes time, and brand is synonymous with reputation. So you're only as good as the last time that you show up. So if I could give you guys any advice, it would be that 5-step framework to going from optimizing to monetizing LinkedIn.
Man, that's so good. And everyone that tuned in today got something. I got something. And it's something else that I'd also like to just endorse Jordan for. I Glenn and I do a lot of stuff with traffic. Obviously, we're the traffic hackers, but on LinkedIn specifically, we also have been furthering our education. Jordan's our coach, and Jordan's the one that we would recommend that people go to. I mean, there's a lot of different things out there that people can do, but Jordan is like one of the guys that I've known for a couple of years now. We actually had a book project together.
Yeah, brand
You
sharks.
probably
There we
got it right
go.
there. Brand Sharks,
Who's that guy with
co-authors in
the
there.
Hawaiian shirt on back there, right? And I've got my corporate photo. So
That's right. And so we did that. And we met a couple of years ago doing this project. And since then we really hit it off. And man, he's got an authority in the space of LinkedIn, and that is for sure. So if you need coaching for any of that, definitely go to Jordan, ask him and tell him like, hey, look, this is where I'm at. I'm trying to build my own authority on LinkedIn, and I'm trying to do this and do that in my own business. He's the guy. So definitely catch up with Jordan on all that stuff. Jordan, thank you so much for being on the podcast
yeah,
today. Is there any closing remarks
yeah,
or
yeah.
things
I
that
would
you'd
like
like
to
to make
say,
as we close out?
the first thing I would say is, if I can do it, you can do it. Okay. If I can do it, anybody can do it. Okay. That's the first thing I'll say. The second thing I'll say is, I'd love to really do something special for your audience. I know that the people that listen to this podcast, right, they are action takers. These are people that get it done. These are people that take action. And so, what I want to actually extend to them is, if they DM me, okay, so you have to take action, guys. I told you what happens when you do that earlier. But if you find me on LinkedIn, just type in Jordan Mendoza. My DMs are open on LinkedIn. I'm a premium user. If you just DM me the word Blaze, okay, Blaze, that's the name of my consulting agency, Blaze Your Own Trail Consulting. I've got the Blaze Your Own Trail podcast. DM me the word Blaze on LinkedIn, and I'll actually message you back. We can jump on a clarity call, and if you decide to take action and enroll in any of my programs, I'll give you $500 off just because you're a listener of Brent and Glenn's podcast. So hopefully that adds value to
That's
your
awesome.
audience. And I can't wait to see some of you guys
Thank you.
DMing me. And if you don't, hey, all good. I know you're not an action taker. So I hope to see some of you guys. Yeah, no, in all seriousness, hey, listen, this is a pleasure and honor. Thank you so much for having me.
Hey, thanks, Jordan. Hey, thank you all for tuning in to the Traffic Hackers podcast. I was going to say Blaze Your Own Trail podcast, but we're not on there today. We're on the Traffic Hackers today with my friend Jordan Mendoza. Thank you all for tuning in. Until next time, keep it up. We'll talk to you all soon. Bye.